Well, thank you, Sophie, for handing over. And good afternoon, everyone. And welcome to this Pinterest webinar, Undecided to Buyers, How Inspired Shopping Drives Action. I am Adrien Boyer. I'm the Regional General Manager for Pinterest for France, Southern Europe, and Benelux. I hope you had a really relaxing summer break. I'm thrilled to be here and take part to this 2020 edition of the Lengow Day here in Paris. Things are certainly very different than the event last year, but I'm really delighted to see what an inspiring program of content has been scheduled nonetheless. And I know that our Pinterest team is really excited to meet with as many of you as possible during the workshop and the virtual meetings. Today, I'm lucky to be joined by Mathieu Spick, who's the head of digital media tools and measurement for Carrefour in France. Mathieu has kindly accepted to come and discuss with me the changing and retail environment and the role that Pinterest plays in Carrefour's marketing strategy. But before we actually start our chat, I would like to take a few minutes to share with you what makes Pinterest so unique and why Pinterest is a tremendous opportunity for brands and retailers, as much from an inspiration standpoint as much as from a shopping standpoint. So at Pinterest, our mission is to bring everyone the inspiration to create a life they love. Every day, millions of users come to Pinterest to seek ideas and inspirations on what to buy, what to wear, what to do. And our mission as a company is when you come to Pinterest with such a project, is to provide you with the most personalized, the most relevant, the most useful inspiration so you can get offline and realize that idea in the real world. And so this year, more than ever, people are in search for inspirations. We've actually experienced on the platform peaks of traffic and engagement. So we passed the milestone of 400 million monthly active users who have saved in total more than 240 billion pins, which are as many ideas or inspirations that are organized in more than 5 billion boards, which are as many projects from users. And that's actually a tremendous audience that's growing very fast, more than 39% year over year, and organically, words of mouth being the first growth lever for Pinterest. And that audience represents a tremendous opportunity for you as a brand or retailer to inspire. And so what are they coming to the platform for? They come for very different needs and projects. They come for everyday projects, looking for ideas of recipes for what to cook tonight. They also come for seasonal moments, to prepare back to school or to prepare Christmas, make it a bit special this year. We know that Christmas will be very different. But they also come for life projects. So changing apartments, getting married, or expecting a kid. And so for me, I use Pinterest for different purposes. I love photography. So I use it for always-on inspiration on what interesting photos could I take about Paris or other places. I use it also for health and well-being tips. I'm also using it to prepare a trip to Japan that I would like to do with my wife. And finally, what was most interesting for me recently is that I used it actually for cooking recipes. I'm a really bad cook. I rarely cook, but obviously in lockdown time period, I had to get onto that new hobby. And so I was searching and discovering on Pinterest recipes, especially easy recipes. And that's how I came across Thermomix, which is an amazing tool that I discovered and I actually bought via Pinterest. And I must say that this has completely changed the face of my quarantine in my apartment in Paris. And so people come to Pinterest undecided. When you go to Pinterest, you come with a very open query. You're looking for inspirations of how to decorate your living room with, of Nordic inspiration, or how to wear, a jacket with sneakers, for instance. But most users actually are not mentioning brands in their queries. The 97% of searches are unbranded. And so while those users are coming with an intent, they haven't found the brand that is actually going to meet their need. And so while they search on Pinterest, they discover brands. We have 77% of weekly users that have discovered new brand or product on Pinterest. And so brands are absolutely needed for the discovery experience, because brand content, which is organic or paid, is actually a solution to a user need. Pinterest is not a user-generated content platform, because more than 75% of the content on the platform comes from brands. So brands are solutions to user needs. And so what about our audience? We have in France more than 17 million monthly unique viewers. And historically, we've had actually a lot of female, a big part of our core audience, 35 plus, and quite affluent. So we actually have 1 in 3 French mothers on the platform. But what we've seen actually recently is that the growth on the platform has come also from new segments. So we've seen a very strong growth among millennials, which have grown more than 50% year over year. We've also seen growth coming from males and from Gen Z. So a very diverse audience that are interested in the same categories, but express their needs and their individuality very differently. And what's interesting and distinctive about user mindset on Pinterest is that they come to plan projects, future projects. And they actually come to plan much earlier than non-users on Pinterest. And so if you look at, for instance, the searches related to Christmas, you can see on the left side here a comparison between searches on a traditional search engine, which is the bottom line, and then you have searches on Pinterest, which is the red line. And while you can see that the spikes of searches related to Christmas on the traditional search engine really come at the end in December, they actually start mid-year on Pinterest. You can see this spike here in June. And in 2020, more than ever before, actually people feel the need to plan their project even earlier. So we can see that the searches related to Christmas on Pinterest have grown actually 59% versus in April 2020 versus April last year. And I think this is directly linked to the fact that we were mostly in lockdown and we had a need to project ourselves in the future and dream. It's interesting because we have billions of searches on the platform about what people are interested in, what they want to buy, and what they want to do. And this really makes Pinterest a laboratory of predictive insights and trends. And so we can unpack actually all the insights around Christmas preparation to go to a much more granular level of analysis. And you can see here the timing of searches and the volume of searches according to different categories, such as gifting, Christmas food and drinks, decor, hosting parties, and festive travel. And so depending on which category you operate in, it's interesting to have those insights as to at which point in time does a search related to your category start on Pinterest, so that you can actually adapt your content and be present as a brand with your product and services when people are most open to it. And so while we've invested historically a lot in the upstream phase to offer a unique discovery and experience to users, more recently, we've actually invested downstream on the funnel to help make an easier transition from inspiration to action, and especially on shopping, because 84% of our users actually come to Pinterest in advance of a shopping act. And so here are a couple of examples of functionalities and innovation that we've launched. So we've launched Catalog, which allows a brand or a retailer to bulk upload all their product catalog, which will create automatically dynamic product pins, which will have dynamic pricing, availability in stock, and will also show with the marker a ticker, the merchant that actually sells that product. We've introduced shopping ads, which help translate the intent signals that users have on the platform in targeting capabilities on media, so that you as a brand can actually send the right product to the right user at the right time on the right project. We've also launched collections, which allow you to display your collection of product with pricing, and dynamic retargeting, which allow you as a brand to retarget someone who would have come to your website but has not completed a purchase, and can be retargeted on Pinterest. And so with this suite of innovations, our belief is that Pinterest is really a visual search engine that allows brand to not only inspire users at the beginning of the journey, but allows them to take them from inspiration to action in just a few click and drive performance. I am now pleased to ask actually Mathieu to join me for a conversation about Carrefour France. Hi, Mathieu.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm really fine. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. So let's get right into it. I was curious to hear your perspective on how has the shopping experience changed in the last few months. What kind of shifts have you seen in consumer behaviors that you think are, really significant and sustainable?
Yeah, it's interesting because during the COVID crisis, we had a lot of shifts to do. And talking about the online shopping, we saw a huge increase in the number of online shoppers. The first week of the lockdown in France, our volume of new customers went 4 times higher than the previous year. So as we had a lot of users online, we had to adapt the website, for example, with an online queue. And we added new e-commerce services to make sure all the customers could be delivered on time. For example, we developed a separate web page to sell online essential product boxes. It was an everyday product that could be delivered quickly than the classic order at Carrefour. So after the first weeks of lockdown, we had a big volume of new customers. So we also had to shift the strategy from doing new customers before the COVID crisis to now make them loyal, because we had a lot of new ones during the lockdown. So we knew that the lockdown was a specific time, and that the customers' habits really changed during this time. So first, we created audiences of visitors of the website and of new customer during the lockdown, because we knew that after a while they might stop ordering online because they would go back to stores. So after some weeks, we added a new strategy dedicated to keep customers loyal to the e-commerce services, because it's important for us at Carrefour to allow people to use in-store and online services at the same time. And so now we really focus our strategy in reducing churn, and this is a completely new approach that we didn't have before the lockdown, for example.
Very interesting to see that new focus on reducing churn, indeed, and the explosion of e-commerce you've seen and you had to adapt to.
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about your data strategy, and in particular, how do you take trends or insights into account as you consider your marketing mix?
Yeah. Actually, trends are really important for us. The COVID crisis was a really good example. In the beginning of the crisis, we learned that people were feeling nervous about the risk of going back into stores. So to answer these questions, we worked on a new strategy for the first 2 months of the lockdown. In the beginning, we stopped all the campaign, and we worked on a totally new branding strategy from scratch at this time. So we shifted our campaign messaging from driving checkouts to instead reassure customers on all the procedures that we have put in place to make stores safe. For example, we changed all the advertising campaigns. We had new videos explaining the sanitation measures in store. We also made videos about contactless and mobile payments that was available in our store. We even developed some contents dedicated to kids, for example, during the lockdown, with coloring pictures, for example. So all the digital strategy changed to a more branding strategy. And during this reassurance phase, we did over 20 million impressions on Pinterest, and we reached about 4 million customers in this short period of time. And talking about trends, I have another example, which is not about the lockdown, but Pinterest really helps us to know what messaging we should advertise. For example, we know that a lot of people are trying to find inspiration on Pinterest, as you said before. And there is one good example with the meal planning for Christmas. A lot of people are planning their meal for Christmas in October. And we use Pinterest to try to fit to the trending topics and adapt the digital campaign thanks to all the insights we can find on Pinterest.
Yeah, that's right. Super interesting to see the meal planning inspiration opportunity that you saw. But indeed, we have billions of searches on what people are actually planning to do. And so we have an audience insights tool that helps you at any given time analyze what are the most popular searches on the platform, which can inform indeed a creative strategy or even a product strategy for some for some brands or retailers. So you've been with Carrefour a key partner to Pinterest for almost a year now. And we were actually thrilled that you were the first retailer to adopt the shopping ads for grocery, in the world. Can you tell us a little bit about your perspective of this partnership, where Pinterest fit within the marketing strategy, and maybe tell us about the effectiveness actually of our partnership?
Yeah. What really interested us with Pinterest is that it's a social network and a search engine. So we can touch customers during the inspiration phase or during the action phase. It's really important for us because we can work all the marketing funnel with Pinterest, and our strategy is totally full funnel. So we can easily do branding campaigns with video, for example. We can do contextual ads in feed to drive traffic on our website, for example. And we can do, as you said before, conversions campaigns with catalog and shopping ads. And that's really important to have everything in the same platform to work on this full funnel approach. Another really important thing for us, which is available on Pinterest, is the creative automation. As you said before, it's really important for us to be able to dynamize all our creatives. As we have a lot of stores, a lot of services, and a lot of products, we have to automate all the lower funnel creatives. So thanks to shopping ads with Pinterest, we are able to do that. So we launched a first test just before the lockdown with some catalog campaigns, and the first results were really interesting. We had a return on ad spend of 2.7 on the campaign, and so we had to stop this campaign just with the crisis, as I said before, because we shifted the strategy. But it will be really interesting for us to try to automate this campaign and do always-on campaigns on all the promotion and the products of Carrefour.
That's great that you're seeing some success during shopping ads. What other elements do you foresee in the next step for our collaboration? What else is important to you?
One of the most important things for my team, for example, is to be able to optimize the campaigns and to measure the incremental lift of the campaigns. It's been a while that we work on two different KPIs, the incremental on online sales, but also on offline sales. So we have been working on different protocols. We work with LiveRamp, for example, to allow us to show incremental lift of digital campaigns to store sales. And it's really our main focus in measurement strategy. Our goal is now to measure all the digital channels, including Pinterest. And I think it would be really interesting for us to know the exact impact that Pinterest can have on the online and offline sales. Moreover, Pinterest allows us to add third-party tracking directly in the creatives. So it's really useful for us to better understand the customer path and to be able to measure all our digital channels the same way.
Absolutely. And so we're also partnering with LiveRamp to measure the impact of the Pinterest campaigns on offline sales. So we've run, for instance, a campaign for Bledina, the baby food brands, that showed that Pinterest was responsible for a lift in sales of 23%. And so we're really excited about such preliminary results. We're looking forward to working with you and your teams on making this measurement of offline sales as well as online sales more systematic across our campaigns. And so to finish, just on an interesting note, it's been a roller coaster with this crisis so far, and we're seeing that digital is really revolutionizing the retail industry right now. Is there an advancement that you're particularly excited about or looking forward to?
Yeah, I think innovation is really important for us at Carrefour. We try to test all the products, the digital products, and we try to innovate in our creative formats and our measurement protocols. So, as I said, I think, as I just said before, I think online to offline measurement is really important for us and is a big innovation. Creative is also a really important point. So, what I'd like to see in the future would be new ways of using the different features of Pinterest to better fit in the Pinterest universe with our creatives. And so, yeah, I'm excited about the new ad formats and the new contextual ads that we could make in the future.
Well, thank you, Mathieu. We look forward to actually working with you and your teams on taking our partnership to the next level. And it's very exciting time, I think, for us. So I want to thank you for taking the time and join me to discuss the evolution of the landscape in retail and how Pinterest fits within the Carrefour strategy. And I want to thank you all for your time, and I wish you a great afternoon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.